I wasn't going to make a video about this, but I feel like it's important because the new Mac Mini with the M2 is an insanely good deal. I think I made a video maybe about the M1 before. So I actually use Mac products. I use PC products, PC for gaming, but I use Mac for work and for my video editing, stuff like that. And when I was reading that you can still get the Mac Mini with the M2 for $599, it's just insane. It's a crazy good deal. And that's not something you can usually say about Apple. And this thing, it's perfect for people who are students. It's perfect if you do video editing. It's perfect if you do graphics design. I mean, this thing handles basically anything you can throw at it. How do I know? Because I use the M1. I use the M1 Pro on a daily basis, and the M2 in a lot of different categories is even more powerful than the M1. We're talking 35% performance increase on the GPU side on max power. We're talking about 40% neural processor increase. We're talking about performance increases across the board from just from a megahertz perspective, going up from, I believe it's 3.2 gigahertz overall speed to 3.49. So there's a lot of big things there. We're talking like an extra 4 billion transistors in the same 5 nanometer size. Actually, I think it's a little bit smaller, but they're using a newer 5 nanometer process, TMSC or TSMC. I've got some stuff I want to read here because I can't remember all this. So, yes, they're both 5 nanometers, but this one, 20 billion transistors instead of last one's 16 billion. This one they still have 4 high performance cores and 4 efficiency cores, but it has the newer ones, has the new Blizzard cores and Avalanche and Blizzard instead of Firestorm and Ice Storm. They changed things up, but I was right. Yeah, 3.49 gigahertz instead of 3.2. 10-core GPU instead of 8, so you got 2 extra GPU cores in there, which is what really kicks in and helps out a lot. And it has unified memory up to 24 gigabytes now. So the last one you could get 8, 16. This one now you can get 24, which helps out, especially if you're going to edit 8K video, because you can edit 8K video with this. You can edit 8K video, you can do ProRes, you can do HEVC, you can do H.264, you can do a lot with this thing. And just from my own personal experience with the M1, I used to edit multi-streams of 4K with absolutely no problems. It wouldn't even have a hiccup. It's really good. My wife uses a MacBook Air with the M1 in it. She edits all of her videos with it. It works out great. Now, I did get the M1 Pro for myself this last year because I upgraded from my laptop. Because I do 90% of my work on my laptop, and I edit my videos in bed half the time while I'm sitting there watching TV or whatever. I get tired of sitting at a computer all the time. So if you're like me and you get tired of that, definitely go the laptop route. But $599, this is uncanny. I was talking to my wife, be like, you know what, this is just insane that you can get this for $599, and I can tell you a way here to get it cheaper in a minute. But $599 comes with the 8 gigs of RAM, and it comes with 256 gigabytes of storage. I mean, that's very low. Of course, you can use an external USB hard drive with it, plug it in through the lightning port or whatever, and you can use that kind of like a second drive. That is a kind of a cheap way to get around it because they charge a lot of extra money for additional storage. I believe they charge you like an extra $100 basically to go from 256 to 512, or $200 to go from 256 to 1 terabyte. Definitely you want to make sure you get as much storage as possible because you can't change it out. Like, what you see is what you get. You get that tiny little compact body. They've got the unified RAM, which is really nice. It works out for the GPU, the CPU. It makes everything flow really nice. And now the RAM speed, it was like 68 point something, I think it was gigabits per second speed, and now it's at a full 100 gigabits per second speed on the RAM. I'm going to read some more stuff here. But yeah, 40% faster neural engine. Yes, 100% gigabit speed on the memory. So that's even crazy better. High bandwidth video decode engine, high encode engine, and new image signal processor, ProRes encode and decode engine, so you can do that now. And yeah, you can edit on this media engine and hardware accelerated for H.264, HEVC, ProRes, and ProRes RAW, which is just amazing. And it's great because you can shoot all that stuff on the iPhone 14 Pro Max, which is what I use, and I'm actually recording on the selfie camera of my 14 Pro Max right now. I know this is not anything otherworldly good looking, but hey, it's a great way to work. It works really, really well, and you can do all this. You could go out and buy, let's say, an iPhone 14, iPhone 13 Pro, whatever you want to get. And if you wanted to start a YouTube channel, you could very easily do that using an iPhone and using a $599 Mac Mini. Now, again, I would say get more RAM and get more storage space. So if you could bump it up, get 16 gigs of storage or 16 gigs of RAM and like the 512 or the 1 terabyte option. I personally use 1 terabyte. Here's why you can do more with less when it comes to these computers, because of the encoding. It's so good. So whenever I was recording, if you're using a regular camera, it takes up a lot of space. I was shooting in ProRes RAW on a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro, and for like a 10-minute video, you're looking at 40, 50 gigabyte video size, which is just insane. However, if you shoot in H.264, HEVC, if you shoot in that, I'm not talking ProRes here, but if you shoot in either of those, you talk in that, like on the iPhone, you're looking at, for a 10-minute video, about a 4 gigabyte video file, maybe 5 gigs max. So if you get a 512 Mac Mini and you're shooting 4 and 5 gigabyte videos, you can store quite a few of those. And then if you want, get an external drive, you can offload that stuff. You don't necessarily need that for working storage space. So 512 is like the minimum. My wife had the 256. I originally had the 256. That's not enough. You're deleting stuff all the time. But 512, if you casually make videos, maybe 1 a week, 2 or 3 a week, that's fine. Even making videos every day like I do, I make videos every single day. I have the 1 terabyte model with my M1 Pro and my MacBook Pro 14-inch. And like I said, I upgraded. I had a 2019 MacBook Pro 16-inch with the Intel i7. It got really hot. Fans were crazy. Battery power was terrible. So moving over to the M1 Pro was a big step for me, especially going to the 14-inch. Haven't had any regrets. I absolutely love that laptop. I'm not upgrading. I don't see the need to upgrade to get myself maybe an extra 8-second encoding time whenever I export my video. But if you don't have one, if you don't have a Mac at all, or you've got one that's still got an Intel chip and you didn't move over to the M1 or the Pro or the Max, this is a great way to get yourself with your foot in the door. You can do your editing, you airdrop stuff straight over. And that's why I use the iPhone for my workflow. Look, I don't have anything insanely crazy going on here. I do B-roll from time to time when it comes to reviews and stuff, and I shoot that straight with my iPhone. And then I airdrop all of it straight over to the computer, and then you just start working on it with Final Cut Pro, which is also optimized so that way it can handle these things even better. So this is not a commercial for these guys. They don't pay me anything. They don't send me anything. Like, the day that I ever get sent anything from Apple probably means that nobody is watching my channel anymore, because, yeah, I don't always say nice things. But I say things that I think where criticism is valid. But when it comes to this video, it's just such a good deal. Now, I told you before I was going to tell you how you can get it for cheaper. Apple actually has a program for emergency firefighters, first responders, veterans, military, students, and teachers where you can get 10% off. And that applies to this. So if you use the ID.me, if you don't have that, sign up for it. Basically, just go to the Apple portal, Google Apple Veteran Discount or Apple Military Discount, Apple Student Discount, and it'll pop up with that portal link. Click on that, and you can get yourself set up with ID.me, which is widely accepted and used a lot of places now. It's safe, it's secure. And then when you log into that portal, you get the automatic 10% discount through Apple. This isn't like a third-party thing where they send you another website. No, this is Apple themselves. You're getting a 10% discount. So when you look at $599, that's essentially $600. 10%, that's $60. You're basically getting the 256 M2 model of the Mac Mini for like $540. $540. You would have to spend like $2,500 to get the equivalent in a desktop PC that could handle this level of performance, do 8K, multiple streams, record, edit, all this crazy stuff. And it's nice. And you don't have to use an Apple monitor. I use a regular PC monitor, and you can plug it in straight that way, no problemo. I used the Samsung M8 monitor before I gave that to my daughter. I've got a Dell monitor out here that I use now. Very easily, you can do your video out options for that. So that's a nice thing. And if you decide you want to get one of these, I would highly recommend, if you do video editing, to get the Magic Trackpad. I don't use the mouse. And if you're used to using the laptop like a Mac Air or a MacBook Pro or whatever, you're used to not using a mouse anyway. You probably use the built-in touchpad on the laptop. Well, you can buy that separately. They call it the Magic Trackpad. I love this thing. This is what I use. I don't use the mouse with it because you get to use all the gestures. You just use the 2 fingers, you swipe left and right, go forward, go backward, pinch to zoom in. It's very, very easy. It's very intuitive, especially if you're doing a lot of stuff with like Photoshop, Adobe, you're using Final Cut Pro to edit your stuff. And here's another nice thing. I don't know if they still do it, but whenever I bought my last couple of Macs, they had like a 90-day free trial with Final Cut Pro. I think they still do that. Don't quote me on that. But I tried using DaVinci, I tried using Filmora, Wondershare, I tried using a couple other different editors, and I really love Final Cut Pro. So just kind of in a nutshell, it's an amazing value. You can never really say that about Apple pretty much ever. Like basically ever. Nothing is ever a good value for them, but these things are so good, and it's going to be good for 5-6 years. This isn't something you need to upgrade every year, every 2 years, every 3 years. You just don't need to, especially if you're looking at this category, because you're probably more of an enthusiast level, a hobbyist, even if you do it from day-to-day job. I mean, if you wanted to make a job out of content creation, you can get this very introductory level, especially if you qualify for one of those discounts, get your 10% off. Use that discount you save and bump it up and get the extra memory and a little bit bigger storage space. And Bob's your uncle. You're good to go. You'll be good for years. It's such a minimal investment too. Like, you would have to spend well over $1,000, $1,500 easily to get anything that's going to touch this in a laptop. I didn't even know what the equivalency is, but the GPU cores in these things, they're serious business. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Like I said, I'm not a big Apple fan. You guys know that if you watch my videos regularly, but you also know that I like to bring y'all the best in value. If there's something that's a good deal, I don't care what brand it is, because it's something that I think is helpful and could work for you. And again, it's good for students. It's good. The only thing is it's not really good for gaming. Now, you can do some stuff with Steam. There are some apps and some games that work with it now. But as far as being hardcore PC gaming, Apple just doesn't do that. So you're kind of going to miss out on some of the things if you want to do gaming, but this isn't really a gaming PC. You could go get a gaming PC also. And here's the thing. Instead of buying like a big machine to do all this editing and all these different things you would do, don't spend $2,000 on that. You could spend $599, $699 and get yourself a Mac Mini, and then just get a gaming laptop, or build an introductory 1080p Quad HD Plus 1440p gaming rig for like $1,000. Call it a day. So that's all I got. I'm going to wrap this one up. I was sitting there reading. I'm like, gosh darn it. I got to tell folks about this because it's actually a really good deal. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, then please go in the comment section. I'll get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, if you found it helpful, then please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.